I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority at 6:45 p.m. I would note that we have 3 of the 4 members of the Finance Committee present. Myself, Anna Blosky, and Paul Annunziato. John Buren is not present. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the May 17th, 2016 meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Please let the record show that the motion carried unanimously. Second item on our agenda is the consideration of the issuance of general obligation bonds by Nassau County. And before I ask Jeremy Wise to speak, I would just mention that I would welcome comments by any other members of the board who are in attendance, despite the fact that they may not be members of the committee. Mr. Wise, please.
The first item concerns general obligation bonds of the county. The county has advanced approximately $4 million for certain capital projects. They want to advance an additional $3 million for projects this year, totaling just over $7 million. Unless they get authorization from the board to issue bonds, the law will not allow them to reimburse themselves from bond proceeds. So what you're being asked to do now is to authorize the issuance of bonds for these projects for which they've advanced money. The actual bonds, however, won't be issued until early in 2018. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Are there any questions from members of the board or members of the committee?
May I?
Please.
It's just a comparatively low number. Normally, there's a larger series of requests. Is this a special circumstance that's requiring action at this time?
Yeah, because you need to have a statement of intent if you advance money and then wish to reimburse yourself from bond proceeds. That's what the IRS says. Otherwise, communities would willy-nilly advance money for projects and then later, way after the fact, try and reimburse themselves.
This is sort of like an inducement
So
resolution.
the government wants you to state your
resolution.
intention almost simultaneously with when you start advancing money for projects.
I was just,
And the small amount is because later on there will be considerably more bonds. These will be part of a bond issue, which they anticipate in early 2018.
Right, so this is to cover whatever
They've
costs
advanced
they're going to
or
incur
what they will
between
advance
now
this
and
year.
Sure.
all right, because normally we consider 100 or 200 million at a time. We get a cut of about 30 million. You know,
This is more of a procedural matter, so they
Cover
can
these costs.
because they've
So
advanced.
these
the
costs
money.
will be eligible for bond proceeds.
Right,
I
as I
understand.
say, otherwise
Thank
you can't.
Thank
I
you,
will
sir. Thank you,
also
Mr.
mention,
Chairman.
I will also mention that everybody will have a second bite of the apple, because any approval by the committee is
Right.
a recommendation to the full board, which will meet immediately after.
Great. Well, I will not repeat my question. I've got it answered now. Thank you.
Further questions by any other members of the board? May I have a motion, please?
Motion?
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Please let the record show that the vote was 3 in favor and 1 member of the committee not being present. The matter carried. The third item on our agenda is the consideration of the issuance of refunding bonds by Nassau County. Mr. Wise, please.
So the county has an opportunity to advance refund certain bonds. They're doing this for 2 reasons. One, because the new tax act may prohibit it in the coming years. And number 2, because there are savings from issuing these bonds now because of the yield curve. So what they are trying to do here is refund approximately $450 million in bonds, from which they anticipate savings of approximately $22 million. They may refund more bonds. They may get greater savings depending upon the market on the day they go out to refund. So this is what's called an advance refunding. I could give you some of the specifics of how they work, but I think it would not be, it's not really relevant here.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Are there any questions by any members of the committee or?
May I indulge again?
Please.
Is this the advance refunding for which the benefit is reflected in the county budget for 2018?
Yes,
Okay.
and we asked them to spread the advantage from this advance refunding over a certain number of years, and as the resolution says, we've only permitted them to advance a maximum of $7.6 million in 2018. The remainder is being spread among subsequent years. There's one other thing I may add, as someone as an editorial comment. We approve all their bond issues under the control period, and we also get involved in the planning of the bond issues to the extent that we can. And this is a case where, because NIFA was involved and we pushed back and told them to go back to the underwriters were willing to take a smaller takedown or fee for their bonds. Had the county not been able to say that NIFA was pushing back, they would have lost some leverage and perhaps not been able to get this lower fee.
It's
So
not that they were convinced that they'd have to work with you on the deal?
it pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying, that I told them that they should go back because I thought the fees were too high. They went back to the underwriters, and the underwriters did cut their fee after I said that. So we do get involved in their bond financings. We also get involved on the date of sale. So, for example, the other day they had a note sale. Before they complete their note sale, I speak to them. I try to figure out how the note sale was done, how they arrived at the price they did, and we then basically approve it if we feel it's appropriate. If we feel it isn't appropriate or they haven't done it competitively, we send them back again to complete their note sale. So we do get involved in what's going on in the county in terms of their bonding.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Any further questions or comments by members of the board? May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the refunding.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Please let the record show that there were 3 votes in favor. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Second.
please. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The meeting is adjourned at 6:52 p.m.
Okay, now we'll move to the regular portion of the meeting of the full board of the Nassau County Interim Finance Authority, Thursday, December 7th, 2017, starting at approximately 6:55. And we will consider the first item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The second is the item we were just speaking about in the Finance Committee, a consideration of the issuance of general obligation bonds by Nassau County of roughly $7 million. Is there a motion?
I'll move that, Mr. Chairman.
Second, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next item is the consideration of the issuance of refunding bonds by Nassau County, which we also just spoke about. Is there a motion?
I will move that, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion
Mr.
carries.
Chairman, I just have one question with respect to these refunding bonds.
Yes.
Are there any other bonds that the county has outstanding that are eligible for refunding?
Well, I can't tell you with any certainty they have a lot of bonds, but I assume that the underwriters have picked those which
This could be the last crack at the apple, you know that. We all know that.
Yeah.
Well, as an advance refunding, yes, there's something called the current refunding, which they may be able to do in the future if they
Maybe.
have bonds.
Maybe.
But this is an advance refunding, so in theory, this may be their last chance. I found historically with underwriters.
For the public's benefit, that's because the current tax legislation pending in the House and the Senate to be reconciled would preclude advance
I think it's fair to assume that an underwriter, since they get paid per bond, is going to find every eligible bond that's out there. I can't vouch for it, but that's normally the way it works.
I would agree.
Okay?
Good question.
Does that answer your question, Howard?
It does. Is there anybody from the county who can answer that question? Come on, you could do it.
Yes, the underwriters have considered everything that we have currently outstanding, so they may be able to refund up to about $530 million, but depending on market conditions at that time.
Okay, thanks.
And this amount refunds how much? Again?
430.
So, nearly the whole amount, anyway.
Because you have to issue more bonds in order to
Understood.
refund.
So,
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
It's made and
Motion.
seconded, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Voted on it already.
We did.
Okay, next resolution is, the last resolution, this is an important one. This is the resolution outlining changes to the county's 2018-2021 financial plan, accepting the financial plan as modified by those changes. And what I'll try to do is explain for the public what exactly it is that we're considering doing here, and then I'll go to the resolve clauses. Essentially, the county executive presented a budget to the county legislature at our meeting in October. We had passed a resolution outlining what criteria amendments would need to be made in order to qualify for being acceptable to NIFA for an acceptable amendment and acceptable budget. The legislature made such amendments, and we reviewed it at our November 9th meeting, and we rejected the budget based on the fact that roughly half of those amendments of $60 million, totaling about $31.5 million, was unacceptable. And we asked the legislature and the county executive to come back to NIFA with a plan by November 27th to make changes that were acceptable. Otherwise, we would impose our own changes. As of November 27th, there was not a plan that NIFA found to be acceptable, and we are putting forth in a resolution here a detailed outline of the changes and cuts that we are imposing in order to have a balanced budget that will be approved and acceptable to this board. So with that said, I'll read the resolved clauses. That be it resolved that pursuant to the NIFA Act, including but not limited to sections 3667 2G, 3669 2A4, NIFA has determined that the modifications to the revised budget that were suggested by the county fail to completely and satisfactorily address the concerns and requirements of the NIFA Act and its directors. Be it further resolved that NIFA has determined to impose on Nassau County a modified Nassau County budget for fiscal year 2018, hereinafter approved budget, that among other items reduces county expenditures by $31.5 million, including $19.5 million of new changes in accordance with Attachment A, which was prepared as directed by NIFA according to NIFA's formula. And be it further resolved that the multi-year financial plan 2018 and 21, Attachment B, which incorporates the approved budget, is hereby approved. Be it further resolved that the incoming county executive shall cause to be prepared and submit under her name to NIFA no later than March 15th, 2018, a letter explaining how the county has implemented the $19.5 million of new changes outlined in Attachment A, together with such supporting documentation as may be required by NIFA and/or a comprehensive plan, a substitute plan that details any changes to the approved plan that the county would like to make. Further resolved, the county is free to reallocate budgeted resources and appropriations, including between departments and categories of spending object codes. And further resolved that unless the county legislature passes clerk item 35917, an ordinance to impose certain new fees within the Traffic and Parking Violations Agency related to tracking and processing scofflaws valued at approximately $1 million, and is subsequently approved by the county executive on or before January 31st, NIFA shall consider the county be in violation of this resolution, shall pursue all appropriate and necessary remedies. Further resolved, the chairman of NIFA and/or his designees are hereby authorized to make such rules and regulations as they deem necessary to assist them in the county fulfilling the intent of this resolution. And attached is an Attachment A, which, according to the formula provided by NIFA, which essentially is a pro rata allocation of the $18.5 million cut to the category of other than personal services. There is a schedule that outlines by department and by category the cut to each department in detail, which will accompany this resolution, and those cuts will be implemented as part of this approved budget. Are there any questions, members of the board?
First, Mr. Chairman, I'll move
Sure.
the resolution so we can discuss it.
Sure.
And if I may.
Sure.
So I'd just like to commend the staff of NIFA for the method and means by which they compelled the county to produce these proposed changes, and the county staff for producing them in a good readable form. When it's boiled down beyond what used to be hand-waving about how this couldn't be done to actual spreadsheets that show how it's spread fairly and evenly across categories and across departments, what's clear to me is precisely how achievable a 0.6% reduction in expenditures can be when you see how little an impact it makes in each department. And I think that's an important takeaway from this exercise, which is to do it, write it down, come up with unambiguous goals by department that can be met with reasonable management efforts that are well within the realm of management possibility. I commend our staff and the county staff for producing the document in this form, and I think it's a very good working document that can be useful to the county executive for as long as he serves, and for the county executive elect when she takes office.
Yes, I think in Howard, do you want to come?
Yes, I don't know if there are any representatives here tonight from the new county executive's office, but I just wanted to send them a message with respect to this resolution. This may seem painful, but I think the administration is getting off very light with respect to the 2018 budget. This could have been a lot worse, and there may be some thoughts that it should have been a lot worse. The county budget, as analyzed by our staff, has close to $120 million in risks, identifiable risks, within that budget. In addition, as reported by Newsday, almost every day a new risk pops up. This is not going to be easy, and this is not a focus on $20 million in cuts that were made. It's a focus on $120 million in risks that are contained in the budget, and that's serious work that has to get done quickly by a serious finance team.
And I just want to add that point. I just want to add that too, that this is somewhat new for this board, and just to back up, our policy has always been to provide guidelines for what would be acceptable to the NIFA board for approval, and that issues of prioritization of policies, programs, and those kind of allocations be made by the elected officials who have been elected to make those decisions. So we've always steered the county towards doing that. We were put in a position where there was a gap, and we wanted to have a balanced budget that we could approve. So we are, for the first time, imposing cuts, but we're doing it in a way in which we are not making any priorities or choices as to winners or losers of different programs. We're doing it on a blindly, across the board, pro rata share. Again, and we're urging the new county executive, if she so chooses, to come back to us with any kind of changes or priorities or different way about arriving at the same numbers as she may choose. So we're affording her that opportunity to do it by March 15th.
It's always okay for the county executive elect, after she takes office, or for any county official to come back to us with a better idea, or a new way of achieving the same numbers, or a better way of achieving even better numbers. That should go without saying. They should hopefully feel invited to do that at any time. Again,
I want to echo also not only the work that staff has done both for NIFA as well as for the Kearney County Executive's Office, Budget Director, Deputy County Executive for Finance, working collaboratively with us to accomplish this task, but also the members of this board who have had a lot of input and guidance in terms of getting us to this point. So I appreciate all their work and help as well. So I think it's good job done by all. And I appreciate if there's any other comments, we could move to get a second to approve the budget.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a quick comment.
Sure.
I think it's important to note the history that brought us to this point. During the last 4 years, each year this board has been reviewing similar budgets, and when we were presented with a variance to the tune of $89 million 4 years ago, we logically looked at it and had to approve a budget that knowingly would have a gap deficit. And then the following year, that gap got smaller. And finally, last year, we got under that $80 million. And for the first time, we saw a gap deficit getting close to the finish line. We were roughly $30 million away on a $3 billion budget. And we said, okay, it's time, for the first time, as a board, and with great staff help, and also with the current administration, to be candid, the activities brought us to a point where we could say we can do this. And so we're close enough to a balanced budget where we said we're not going to approve a budget that will have a gap deficit next year. So I just would like to echo all of my fellow board members that this is a combination of the efforts of the administration, our staff, and this board. And I'm proud of the fact that we're approving a budget that is and will be balanced in 2018.
Any other comments?
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion's carried and the budget is considered approved and adopted by NIFA
As amended.
as amended.
I move
and
to
changed.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much for coming this evening, and
So, Kinley, we get-
have a wonderful holiday season for all.